60s child. Hello again. In this video we're going to be looking at knitting and all those wonderful creations we got made for us in the 1960s.
Knitting? Come on girls, we're off.
Knitting's a popular pastime now, but in the 60s nearly everybody had someone in the family who'd knit clothes for them. And some family members even had knitting machines. And some will say that's crochet, that's not knitted, blah blah blah. Well, I don't really care because it's my video and I'm going to call it knitting. So let's get started. In the beginning, more than likely, whoever was doing the knitting would have bought one of these, a knitting pattern. And there were millions to choose from, every shape and description you could imagine. Now, I've got nothing against knitted clothes, and if it's done really well, it looks really cool, as it does on these models of the time. But some of our family members weren't that good at knitting. Now, I remember my nan used to knit her own teapot cozies, or teapot warmers if you like. Now, knitted clothes those days for babies was cool. They looked good, it kept them warm, and to be honest, the baby, he or she didn't really care what they looked like. But when it came to knitted items for older kids, that was a different story. Remember these? Balaclavas. They weren't much of a fashion statement, but they were warm, I'll give you that. And they came in all shapes and sizes. And it didn't stop with balaclavas. We had bobby hats, we had boys' helmets, bonnets, all kinds of shapes and sizes. I mean, the basic function of these was to keep your head warm, and a little bit at the sides kept your ears warm. But this is just going over the top. And some had ears. And that one's just, well, that's dead cool really, isn't it? That one's ridiculous. And then you got matching mittens, remember them, with a string going through your sleeves and round your neck so you wouldn't lose them. Come to think of it, I don't think we really bothered with fashion that much them days. There was the fingerless ones. I had a pair of these and I used to pretend to be Harold's steptoe. And what about these knitted socks? You could never wear them out because your mum would just down them and fix them. And if you had brothers and sisters, you got hand-me-downs. And then there was the knitted cardies and jumpers. All the kids I knew had jerseys like this. Really, the patterns had never changed. The thing was, it was so bloody cold them days, there was no central heating for the start. I even remember having a few of these moth-eaten ones. And then there was that fashion icon, the tank top. What was that about? A glorified jumper with no sleeves? And this is just going too far. And remember these knitted football scarves and bobby helmets? Now, knitted swimwear may look good on this young lady, but it certainly didn't look good on these. And I'll tell you another thing, my mate had a pair of knitted beavers and we went to baths, and so he jumps in with his knitted beavers on. And what happens to wool when it gets wet? It gets really heavy. So when he tried to get out of the pool, he couldn't get out without his beavers falling into the pool. He was in a right state, and I couldn't help but laugh. Eventually I did get him a towel. Moving on, what about this knitted underwear? Now, it looks fine on this lady, but the truth was it itched like mad. And then there was knitted dresses for the girls, which in fairness didn't look too bad, and the girls seemed quite happy to wear them. Then they started knitting clothes for dolls. And again, to be fair, they looked alright. But then the worst thing ever happened. They did this. Warning, some of the images contained in the next clip could be very offensive to boys who grew up in the 60s. I mean, a jersey was alright and a bob hat, I could accept that, but this is a man of action. It was embarrassing. They made him look a proper Mary Ann. knitted tracksuits and trousers. No! I tell you what, none of my action men ever wore homemade clothes like that. And then there were these knitted toys. Now we had TV programmes with knitted characters like the Clangers and Shari Lewis with Lamb Chop. But what would you do with knitted animals like these? There are those that find these cute, but I don't. I find them a bit freaky. And this pattern says fun and furry animals, but they weren't furry, they were knitted. I mean, look at this, a knitted teddy bear, not a bit of fur on it, and the mind boggles what this is for. And we'll say nothing about them. And this was never going to be a threat to Matchbox. And finally we look at the overtop ridiculous ones like this. This one. That's just silly. And that's a bit rude. And God knows what that is. And that's just a definite no-no. And although this looks cool, what could you do with it? Matching jerseys? And this just takes the mickey. I only wish my mum could have knitted something like this. Now this I would have loved to have worn. Instead though, all I got was this kind of thing. Oh well. Well, we've come to the end of my little video again. I hope you enjoyed it. It's only a bit of fun. And if you did enjoy this little video, then click share and subscribe. And I'll see you later. Bye.